Hey, everybody, Pierre Quinn here, and I empower leaders to better assess their strengths, to build stronger organizational cultures, and to foster the relationships that lead to personal and professional transformation. And I wanted to hop on this quick easel pad session to talk about three traps that new leaders, newly appointed leaders, newly elected leaders, newly positioned leaders, three traps that young leaders, seasoned leaders, whenever you're sitting in a seat of new responsibility for the first time, these are three traps, three pitfalls that you need to avoid. So as we're having this conversation, as you're watching this live or watching the replay of this, I invite you to hop in the comment section, check in with us. I love to shout out when people are watching. And even if you're watching the replay of this, I love to respond to you during the replay session. Okay, so I'm going to give you really quickly these three areas of leadership, these three pitfalls that can really derail your leadership for newly positioned, newly appointed, newly elected, newly hired leaders. And if you work in HR, onboarding, talent development, you want to pay special attention to this, because this is one of the reasons why we see so many leaders, at least 50% of them, struggling when they first get the spot. All right, so let's give you the first one really quickly. No pun intended, but the first area to avoid, the first pitfall, the first trap to avoid is what I call the quick major. I call it the quick major. And the quick major is that intense amount of pressure that you have as a new leader to make a major decision quickly. That intense amount of pressure to make a major decision quickly. You want to avoid the quick major. You want to avoid that as soon as you get into the position, as soon as you get into the role, as soon as you sit at your desk for the first time, making a major decision quickly. Now, I know some of us are moving into spaces and places where this is life and death matters that we're dealing with, and we don't have the time to process or think through that we would like, that we could leverage to our advantage. But for the most of us, that's not the case. And when you're sitting in that seat of responsibility, when you're with your team, avoid making a major decision quickly. You come along as some mythical character that everyone's enamored with, intrigued by, because you're new, you're fresh. This is a new opportunity for you. And they're thinking, oh, we got a new person here. Let's send them to slay the dragon. And you're so happy about the opportunity to prove yourself. And you slay the major dragon in the organization. But then you didn't know that the dragon was actually keeping the pirates at bay. So you slay the pirates, and now you have to deal with the trolls because the pirates are keeping the trolls at bay. And with a little bit more research, discovery, and conversation, you would realize that we don't just have a dragon problem in our organization. We have a dragon problem, a pirate problem, and a troll problem. And in order for us to proceed effectively, we need a strategy for dealing with all three. So be very careful of what I call the quick major. You want to avoid that. Don't make major decisions quickly as soon as you get into your new role, because they're going to cause significant challenges in the immediate context that you're in and down the road. Here's the second trap. The second trap that leaders need to avoid, especially in those first few weeks, first few months, sometimes even that first year in a new position. You want to avoid what I call the lone first responder. And what I mean by lone first responder is that individual in the organization that as soon as you get the role, as soon as you are positioned, it's that person that wants to come to you quickly and spill all the tea about the organization, to give you their perspective, to tell you where the skeletons are buried. They want to give you all the insight, the inside scoop about the organization. And they want to be the person that has your ear and can almost direct how you lead. You don't want to avoid first responders. You want to avoid the lone first responder. You want to avoid only listening to one person, only listening to one perspective, or only listening to a small group of people's opinions about your role and about the organization as a whole. In fact, many of the individuals in your organization that have valuable insight to share, They're not going to seek you out. They're not going to come in your direction. You are actually going to have to look for them and then set up a framework and an environment where they actually feel comfortable talking to you. And it's by getting a wide variety of perspective and opinion and feedback throughout the organization, up and down the org chart, left and right of the org chart, where you actually have the perspective that you need to lead effectively in that first 30, 60, 90 days, that first year of leadership. So don't just avoid the quick major. Don't just avoid making major decisions quickly. Avoid listening to only one person or a small group of people. Avoid only listening to their opinion about the organization. And here's the last one. So we got quick major, lone first responder. Avoid what I call the power strip method. Avoid the power strip method of leadership. The idea of the power strip method, and you see, I drew a power strip here. You can plug 3 things into a power strip. In some power strips I have a couple on the floor. You can plug 6 things into this one, and you can plug 5 things into this one. When we first start, there is this desire to prove ourselves so much in our organizations as the leader that we're trying to get up to speed with so many things at one time. We're trying to take all of the content and perspective we receive from the different levels in our organization and act upon that information as fast as we possibly can. We talked about the quick major and really to show that we can do the job. But that's so dangerous. A power strip is designed to have multiple things plugged into it, but you're not designed to be pulled in multiple directions and to have significant effectiveness. Greg McKeown, in his book Essentialism, he gives off this idea that many of us as leaders, we're trying to go essentially 1 inch or 2 inches in dozens of different directions. And if we want to have tremendous amount of success, we need to pick one direction, one lane, one focus. And that first 30, 60, 90 days, that first 6 months, pick one area of the organization. Pick one section of the org chart, pick one department, pick one central issue, and give that central issue that you chose the majority of your efforts, the majority of your research, the majority of your perspective. And as you have success in that one area, in that one lane, with that one topic, with that one section of the organization, as you have success in that one area, you can leverage the success in that area to work on additional problems in the organization. So do not use the power strip method. First 30, 60, 90 days, first 6 months. Don't try to be extremely successful in all of these different areas. Pick one lane, pick one perspective, pick one track, pick one problem, and work to be effective in that area, and then leverage that effectiveness for different areas in the organization. So really quickly, to wrap this up, for my newly appointed, newly positioned leaders, I know we're starting the year, we're starting 2021. Some of you have just been hired and you're trying to figure out, what do I do? How do I make heads or tails of what my responsibility entails? 3 things to avoid. Avoid the quick major. Avoid making major decisions quickly, because that's going to lead to long-term problems. Avoid the lone first responder. Avoid listening to only one person or just a few people in the organization. Avoid listening to their opinion and perspective. You want to engage as many people as possible, especially early on, because that's when you have the greatest opportunity to do that. And avoid the power strip method, trying to plug into so many different things and be super effective. Pick one area of the organization, one problem, one issue, one concern. Work in the direction of that one thing. And as you gain success, leverage that success for different areas of the organization. And if you know someone who has just been newly positioned, newly elected, newly hired, or if you know someone that works in talent development or HR that could use this insight to pass on to their team, feel free to share this video with them or tag them in it. And I'll be back real soon to give you more insight, to give you more perspective, to give you more nuggets of goodness that will better help you assess your strengths, that will better help you build a stronger organizational culture, and that will better help you foster the relationships that you need to experience personal and professional transformation. I'll see you next time.